Welcome to this postgame media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Indiana extended their winning streak to 5 games on Tuesday. Typically shaky Purple Aces pitching staff held Indiana's potent offense at bay much of the day with a high off-speed mix, including a lot of weak contact. Indiana ran a lot of arms out, including senior Ryan Kraft, played excellent defense, and kept it close. A late 4-4 tie was broken with a solo shot by junior outfield Devin Taylor in the 7th, and a 2-run blast by freshman Cooper Malamazian in the 8th. After the game, the media spoke with Malamazian, Kraft, and head coach Jeff Mercer. So Cooper there in the 8th, looks like he threw you 2 curveballs. You looked at the first one. What were you kind of thinking between those pitches?
We talk a lot about on offense that when you get a curveball, you want to think of like head high halfway to you. So, early in the game I was chasing away, which trying to do a little bit too much that I'm trying to work on and limit those. But I really, dug deep into that, thought about that more, and I saw one, head high halfway to me, and then got lucky and drove in deep.
Cooper, what's kind of been the biggest adjustment so far adjusting to college baseball?
I think kind of just, the atmosphere, the little things. It's not much different. Like, it's always, you're having fun, you're a little kid playing baseball outside. But I think adjusting to, the crowds and kind of how fast the game is. It's a lot faster than high school baseball for sure. But like I said, I don't really think about that too much. I kind of just go out there and play the game that I always have.
Ryan, so you kind of took care of a couple of the middle innings here. They've kind of been putting you into that role quite a bit. And now in 3 of your last 4 outings, you've been very successful. What's working for you right now?
I think just sticking to our plan of getting ahead, getting our A3Ps, which are after 3 pitches. You get 2 strikes, you put them away. So I think just stay on the attack like we've all been doing really well. It's been working real well.
It's kind of been the message from Glant, from Mercer about your usage so far this season?
Honestly, they just put me in any role, and kind of like what they want me to do is what I'm going to do. So whether it's a starting role, whether it's a relief role, middle innings, closing, I'm down to do whatever I need to do.
Yes? Cooper, you're just seeing Hogan at second base. Kind of what goes through your mind when he's making plays out there at second?
Yeah, Hogan's an athlete. He's been working on it the last week too, so we all got trust in him. The ball just finds his glove, man. He don't gotta do anything crazy, but he does his job over there, and his bat's crucial for our lineup. So whatever they believe is the right spot, we'll always believe in him.
Your hitters did struggle a little bit. They saw a lot of off-speed pitches, and there in the 8th, Cooper saw 2 in a row and did some damage with that last one. Can you just kind of talk about the progression over the course of the day?
Yeah, we just talked about it as a group. I didn't think we were very good offensively. We did have a tough time stringing them together, and they threw a lot of change-ups, and we rolled over some and some double play balls. I thought we got in between timing. It just wasn't as sharp. And kudos to them. Kudos to them for landing some off speed and continue to throw them. But I just didn't think we were as sharp and dutiful on the rules. And Cooper had expanded early to some off speed pitches, which he's done at times. And I asked him earlier, probably in the 6th inning or so, I said, where do you hit breaking balls well? And right-hand breaking balls. And he said, I pull them well. And I said, I would disagree. I think he hit breaking balls, right-hand breaking balls, on the inside of it to the middle of the field. If you catch it out front, then you'll be in business. And that's what he did. He did a really good job of, he got the breaking ball the first pitch, he got second pitch breaking ball right on right, and he went to the inside of it, and that's how we elevate breaking balls to our pull side, and just kind of talk to him about just like the geometry of it. I can't be out and around the same arm side. I'm going to be over top of it all the time. So, he's still learning and adjusting. Obviously he's really talented. But just how you play the game at the level as it's the game finds your weakness, and it's going to poke your weakness until you're able to adjust, and that's part of being a young guy. But he did a great job making an adjustment when we really needed it. That's obviously a huge swing there. But yeah, I thought we pulled off some balls. I thought we were in between timing. It was the same win today that it was against Ohio State, out to left center, and I thought we could have had a lot more success in the big part of the field. And you look at Devin. I know Devin homered, but that was just such a professional at bat. Guy with a ton of arm side run on his fastball, arm side run on his changeup. Guy was excellent, and he just stayed on it and carried that ball out of here to left after a really tough at bat. So that's that level of competitiveness, and You have to follow the rules, and we didn't do a good enough job of that. Partly them and partly us, and so we have to. I told the guys we need to have a really good work day tomorrow and make sure that we're squared away for this weekend, because it will be unforgiving at UCLA. Those mistakes will be unforgiving.
Kind of talked about it over the weekend. How comfortable are you now with Hogan at second base?
It was as much as anything. I wanted to get Hogan in there, obviously, from an offensive standpoint, and I wanted to get him some practice in case he ends up there like he did the other day. As a coach, I still remember Brock Tibbetts somehow ended up at first base against Clemson, and it was like his second game, and I didn't feel like he was a great player, but we had spent very little time on it, and I've thought to myself since then, like, don't make that same mistake again. Don't put a guy in a position that he's not prepared for. So wanted to get him in there and get some live looks, and I also wanted to keep Joey sharp. Joey's a great player. I love Joe. And so you're trying to find a defensive position for either Hogan or Joey. But in the meantime, you got to keep, if you want Joey to be good, you got to keep giving him at-bats. And he's earned it. And so I wanted to give him some at-bats. And I thought if the game was closer or we were in a position where we needed to play defense the back half, then I would go to Will. And so that was kind of the plan with Will the last half of the game. We had bases loaded with one out, and we're up 4-1. And we don't score again, so now it's a 3-run game, and we have to go to Will. And thank goodness we did, because he made a couple tremendous plays. That they bunt, and that should have been the pitcher's ball. And so we just worked on that last week about the catcher not coming too far out. And again, I would rather him be aggressive, but that's the pitcher's ball. They hit and run, and Will comes in and makes an acrobatic play. Gets that out, and then there's a fly ball in the triangle in right field where the wind's pushing back, and he throws the ball home, which was a brilliant play, honestly, even beyond what I had understood at the time. And I thought about it, how well that worked, where that guy could have if he'd gone to third, he could have very easily tagged and advanced all the way to home on the throw to third, and so he went straight to home. What a smart play! So. And he played really good defense down the stretch and was a huge part of the win. So, I'm feeling better with Hogan. We're going to be on dirt this weekend, and so we'll be back with Will this weekend. But it was a chance for us to get Hogan a little bit of time over there, and we'll keep practicing it. He made a great catch on the line drive and deep in the 4-hole, and so that was a great play from him. And so we just got to keep working him at it in case he ends up back in that situation like he did this weekend, and make sure he's as prepared as we can be for it.
So, pitching-wise,
yes,
you had some pretty solid performances from Kraft and Holderfield, some veteran guys that have struggled.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like we're starting to string those together. Is that the impression you're getting?
Yeah, 100%. We just talked about it as a group. It's all about, I say all the time, but the number one trait of successful people is availability. You're available physically, you're available mentally to learn, and the second one is adjustability. So you have to be able to adjust. And so those guys, 2 weeks ago, weren't leverage guys, and then they became tweeners, and now the last couple of days they've been leverage guys because they've been able to adjust. Crafty's changeup has been a much better pitch, his cutter's been a better pitch, and then Holderfield we talked about kind of reinvented himself into that sinker changeup guy and get guys off the fastballs. And so you trust them. They're strike throwers. They're older guys. They've been in the fight. Grant's overcome injuries, and so he's kind of finding his footing again. But yeah, having those guys is really, really big for us to just continue to get good outings. And part of it is too, as the last week or 10 days we've chopped games up differently, and now you're getting guys in consistently. And so being on the mound, just like having at bats. If I get at bats every other day, I typically get a little bit better. If I'm on the mound all the time, I don't need you to go 5. Can you give us 3 to 9 outs somewhere in the middle, and then just hand it off to the next guy and kind of dodge, duck, dive, and weave, and not let somebody get comfortable. And so as long as those guys come in and throw the fastball to both sides and multiple off-speed pitches, they're going to have a chance to have success. And so yeah, you feel really good about having those guys on the mound again. Yes.
As opposed to maybe a couple of weeks ago, how happy are you and satisfied with where this team is at right now from a results standpoint and from just the process?
Yeah, we talked about as a group the All Blacks rugby team. We talking about sweep the sheds, and you have success as you're able to do the little things well. It still may go wrong. You still may get beat if you do all the little things well, but you have no chance if you don't. If you free bases and don't play defense and you don't have a consistent plan, if you're on the ground to your pull side consistently offensively, if you're expanding the zone, don't take free bases, you don't have an avenue for success. And then as a coaching staff, we have to adjust. You have to learn your team, understand where you're at, and then put guys in a better position. So we've tried to do that in totality. So I certainly winning begats winning, and so you feel better as you go. And so you feel better than you obviously did a couple weeks ago, but it's because of the practice time, being home a little bit. You get settled, you get healthy. We had the super flu bug. Half the team was out, and so you start to kind of get your feet back underneath you and those things. But we've just done the fundamental things far better over the last 10 days than we did the previous week or so. And so then you start to kind of string it together. And we're going to have to do that this weekend. You're going to go play, probably a top 10, 15 team in the country and on the road. And it's going to be a great challenge. And so they're going to be fundamental, and you have to match them step for step in that regard. You can't one team can't give the game away to the other, right? And most games are not won, they're lost. And they're lost because we don't do the fundamental things well. And so we've done a better job. They're going to do that. We have to match them. We have to get to the 7th inning in a ball game and then find a way to tough it out late and be fundamental and compete our way through it. And we're talented enough to do that. We're just going to have to put ourselves in that position in the style in which we play. But yes, I certainly feel a hell of a lot better than I did a week or two ago. I've slept a little bit, and so that's always nice. My wife, I'm sure she thinks I'm a nicer person, and my kids like me more, and all those good things. So yeah, you're right. It feels much better, and hopefully we can continue to play a high quality of baseball, and then success typically follows, and that's on the way forward.
Indiana next travels to Los Angeles for their first Big Ten series on the West Coast as they take on a very hot UCLA team currently leading the conference standings. See you at the BART.